Hey, what up anyone is watching, this is View with Ice, and yes, I understand that we are in a new year, but I of course haven't watched every single great anime that 2023 has to offer, so this will be my part 3 of the top 5 best new anime to come out of 2023. Opening up this video, I will start off with something fun. This is also an anime that doesn't take itself too serious, so if you are the type of overly critical, overly serious person, I don't think this is the one for you. The story here follows Fuko Izumo, a young girl with an unfortunate power. She has an ability called Unlock. This power brings bad luck to anyone who touches her skin. Because of this ability, Fuko has had some very terrible experiences in her life because no one can come close to her, otherwise they would die. On the day that she decides to commit suicide, she meets an undead man. He has the ability to regenerate. You could say he's kind of similar to Deadpool. No matter what you do to him, he will regenerate and come back to life. He also has the desire to die because he feels that he has been alive too long and his power doesn't allow him to get a final death. He then decides to stick around with Fuko because her power complements him nicely. He wants to die and her terrible misfortune could just be the way for him to finally have a permanent death. But of course that wouldn't be the only problems they have because they would be hunted down by the Union, which is a secret organization of other people who have special abilities. Undead Unlock is not a perfect anime by any means, but I feel it has all the necessary tools to at least give you your money's worth. Next up is the first anime that I've ever watched that involves car racing. This is also a sequel to Initial D. I have never watched Initial D in my life, but I've seen the name numerous times over the years. Our story here takes place in a time where self-driving electric cars have taken over and the normal cars we know of is a thing of the past, but in Japan there is an organization who does street racing and they still use internal combustion cars. This organization is MFG. Our MC here is Kanata Rivington. He's a British national and half Japanese. And as I've said, I've never watched Initial D before, but apparently our protagonist here was trained to race by the protagonist of the original series. Now going back to Kanata, he is 19 years old and has decided to participate in MFG, coming in as an unknown name but quickly makes a name for himself with his incredible driving. His real goal for coming to Japan was to find his long lost father. He goes by the name of Kanata Katagiri when he's racing. This is the surname of his father. I'm not 100% sure, but he could be using this surname to maybe get noticed by his father if he is watching, because MFG is immensely popular with 30 million subscribers worldwide. You know when you watch a big anime fight and you get goosebumps and chills? That is exactly how I felt watching MF Ghost. Anime or basically any story is all about feeling to me, and if you can get me to feel something, it is an instant win, and it only took 2 episodes for MF Ghost to win me over. And considering how much I like MFG, I might just put Initial D on my watch list. I have always wanted to try out Samurai X for a long time, and when I saw they were doing a reboot, I just jumped into it. I am of course not opposed to watching the original, but I tried out a few episodes of the reboot just to test the waters a little bit, and I kind of got caught up into it. Now, I could have added a little bit more detail if I watched the OG version, because a lot of times the originals tend to be a little bit more superior, but all I can say about the 2023 version of Samurai X is that I like it. For those who haven't watched it yet, the story here follows Himura Kenshin, a warrior who has given up on the fighting of his past life and now travels around Japan on his own personal journey, just helping people in need with his superior sword skills. He was once a feared killer but has taken a vow of never taking a life again. So far, I've only watched about 10 episodes, but I've already fell in love with this reboot after only just the first 5. If you have always wanted to watch Samurai X, I think now is one of the best times to finally get it off your watch list. Next up, we have something that I feel is a little bit of a mixed bag, but it did the job for me because I watched all 12 episodes in one sitting. The story here is set in a modern day Japan where ninjas still exist. They of course work in secret, and there are rumored to be about 200,000 ninjas still active that work domestically and internationally. These ninjas live just like regular people until they are activated for a mission. And that is where Kuro Kumogakare comes in. Rakuro is somewhat of an introvert who does small missions from time to time until he receives the biggest assignment of his life, and that is to infiltrate a high school. But it is of course not as simple as you might think. One thing about Undead Ninja is that it doesn't look like much at first, but it has a few surprises here and there. I didn't really expect it from this anime, but it gave it to me anyway. One of the best selling points for me personally was the humor. It is nothing fantastic or amazing, but it got me to finish the first 2 episodes, and after that, I was hooked. I think it is safe to say that Undead Ninja is my 3rd favorite anime that came out of 2023. As I said in the beginning, this is kind of a mixed bag and it may not be for anyone, but it is definitely one of my highest recommendations from last year, and I'm already excited for a 2nd season. The final show on this list today falls into a genre of anime that I don't normally focus on, but I saw a guy with a bird head on the cover and I thought it looked funny, and for that simple reason, I decided to check it out. Rakuro Hijitome, who goes by the gamer tag of Sanraku, is what you would call a trash gamer. He is someone who loves to play terribly made games. Games that most people avoid, the type of games that comes with glitches, bugs and a lot of unnecessary problems and difficulty. After finally beating a special kind of terrible game, he is recommended to play Sanga Frontier, another virtual reality game, but this one is not the type that he regularly plays. This is one of the most popular games at the time and something that would fall into the AAA game category. After putting himself through the hell of playing trash games, he decides to take up on the recommendation. Since Sanraku has been playing trash games for such a long time, he has a very unique perspective on video games, and this would lead him to some very interesting situations in the game. And with this, the name Sanraku very quickly becomes infamous in the virtual world of Sanga Frontier. The show is still ongoing at the moment, but after those 14 episodes that I watched, I consider it to be in my top 3 of the best new anime to be released in 2023.